Oh well.
Welcome to another episode of Mac Yak. So everybody say hi, and if you notice, we actually have a special guest again, because he's been on here several times. Dana, say
Yeah,
hi.
that means he ain't special anymore. It's just a
Yeah.
guest.
So
Yeah.
Dana's got a new
Well,
microphone too,
he's
so he
still
should sound a lot
special.
better.
I was never
He's
special.
special.
Wait.
I'm
Let's
special.
hear Dana. Let's hear Dana.
Hi.
Wow,
That's
that's clear.
clear.
Dana got a new microphone.
It's like he's there.
He's there, and he's
There it is.
not there.
Ooh, fancy.
Nice.
Anyways, guys, we got a special episode tonight. As you see by the title, this is going to be a giveaway episode of Mac Yak. However, we're not going to go into that just yet because we're going to wait till somewhere, maybe the middle, maybe the end, maybe right after our intro here. So you guys are just gonna, we're just gonna have to. You guys are gonna have to find out what it is and how we're doing it when we do it. So, anyways, let's go ahead and we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight too. So we're gonna tear through some of this stuff. So what's everybody else been up to lately, the last week or so? I know Grudy's stuffing his face right now, but hey.
So
I
go to
just
him
finished
first.
stuffing my face.
Yeah. So, anyways, we got a full house tonight. We're still missing Rocky, of course. So, hopefully, we'll get him back on sooner or later. No, I am not. Oh, Dana, you're not giving away Jupiter. Somebody said not giving away Jupiter.
James.
James.
That's James. Yeah.
Penis.
We might be giving it. You never know. You never know there, James.
If we say you
just
got to
said
give
you
away your G4, you just got to
Yeah.
do it.
Got to do it.
You know?
Do it. All right.
Yeah, we're accepting donations.
All right, guys. So, anyways, first off, news and announcements. Let me get my stuff up here. I'm already behind on my duties here. News and announcements. Got paid. iOS 6 settlement pays out. I don't know anything about this. So who put this in here?
I
Okay.
did.
So Jay, tell us about it.
I think it was Dana or Steve that mentioned it a few episodes ago that because of iOS 6, what was it? Throttling?
I think
Wait.
it was.
Oh,
it was
battery. The whole battery
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
and the-
So, of course, in true American fashion, someone had to be sued. So they did, and Apple is forced to pay out millions of dollars, which
That's
means
chump
that
change for
whoever
them.
was part of the class action lawsuit, you get $3.
Yeah, I was gonna say millions of dollars to Apple's only chump change.
$3 freaking dollars.
Well, that means a new battery is only 27 then. So
Yeah. So everybody that got paid should be extremely happy.
Well,
yeah, there was
earned it.
also
Enjoy it.
there was also I think the link says FaceTime settlement. I didn't click on it, but I've read one about people complaining that they couldn't use FaceTime on iOS 6 because there was a flaw, and Apple internally, someone found an email or whatever that is basically an Apple guy internally saying, by the way, FaceTime won't work on iOS 6, blah blah blah, and basically you had to update to iOS 7 in order to do that. So that I think was part of it as well.
Yeah.
I thought that was for iOS 4 or 5.
This if you click on the link, Rudy. it says,
Grudy doesn't know how to read.
that's
Sorry,
seven.
he's from West Virginia.
No.
That's true. Exactly. Hey!
Anyway,
Yeah, so if we have one of these lucky people in the chat, we'd love to hear from you. How are you going to spend your money? What are your big plans? Tell us all about it.
Hey, you could buy
Curious.
what, a cup of coffee with that nowadays, or something like that. Not even that. I
Well,
don't think.
yeah.
That'll get you started on some Mac Pro wheels.
Yeah, that's what 0.00001% of the cost.
it's like
Yeah,
2.5
or Hot
songs
Wheels.
on iTunes.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Give the money right back to them.
So let's go ahead and get right into our topics tonight. First topic of the evening is remotely helping others. Everybody's been dealing with this coronavirus thing the last 6 weeks now or so, I think. And a lot of people have been working at home. In fact, my wife is starting to telework now. She just got her laptop set up, and there's a PC in my house, unfortunately. Yeah.
You already run Windows on your iMac. What you complaining
Huh?
about?
Exactly.
But it's on. It's
So you already
on.
run Windows on your
But
iMac.
it's on Mac hardware. That's a difference.
Yeah, the problem is the operating system, buddy.
Yeah.
The operating system kind of just makes your Mac a PC.
Yeah. But anyways, a lot of people are doing this now. So how are we remotely helping our friends and family and clients with issues? What software is everybody using? Myself personally, I haven't done any of this, so I'm going to throw this over to Jay because I'm pretty sure this is his topic.
I'm innocent.
No.
I forgot how the topic came up. I think we were talking on Discord one night, and we were talking about TeamViewer and how it
Yes.
screws you after 5 minutes, and then VNC started doing
Yes.
weird stuff as well. So that's how the topic pretty much came into existence. For me, I have all my family, friends, whoever calls on me for help once in a while, and clients. I have them all set up with Apple Remote Desktop. The benefit is that it just works phenomenally. It's already built into the Mac OS, so your family or friends don't have to do anything. They just go to System Preferences, Sharing, check Remote Management. You make sure you have the right user account, and you're good to go. The only downside is that you have to open up the remote desktop ports in a firewall. For me, that's not an issue. Everybody has a static IP address. If they're my clients, I manage their networks anyway, so it's not a problem. But for one-offs, that can be a drawback, and that's when people usually switch to TeamViewer, which I personally haven't used in a long time.
Now,
have.
I've seen TeamViewer, like especially on some of these scammer videos and stuff, where a lot of scammers do use TeamViewer a lot to scam people with.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
and I
you
think
have to get the person to install the TeamViewer at their end, So I mean, it's not like a situation where it's like, there's this huge loophole or something. I mean, ultimately,
Exactly.
the scammers are tricking the person into installing, TeamViewer. Then it gives them that ability to remotely control the computer.
which totally takes advantage of the free service that they offered, which I think they've kind of tried to crack down on that, but they've done it in a ham-fisted way that it's affecting people who are not abusing the system. Because I know I used to use TeamViewer on all of my machines just because in most cases you can connect from a brand new Mac to a G4 or a G5.
Not
I mean,
anymore, but you could.
TeamViewer has sort of clients for just about everything out there. I mean, you can even remote into a Raspberry Pi. With using TeamViewer. The downside, of course, to TeamViewer is that it is a commercial product. That they do allow you to have a free version, which gives you a little moment to use it, but then ultimately they sort of cut you off if you've been using it for too long. Part of the discussion we were having when we came up with this was I was basically saying how much I dislike the product TeamViewer, not because of what it does. It's a very versatile product, and if you are having to do sort of IT support with people on different platforms, different operating systems, and you're needing to remote in, it's very, very handy. I mainly don't like the fact that they have a very, very big jump from having a free product to their paid product, which is a big jump. There's no middle ground. Certainly in Australian pricing, it's something like $500 and something a year to use it commercially. And this is when I actually found an alternative, and I just want to make mention of this very quickly. There's another product called AnyDesk. So if anyone is out there looking for an alternative to TeamViewer, it's virtually the same. It works almost exactly the same. I mean, it's like you install it at the end. It comes up with a code for you to access and everything like that. It runs on lots of different operating systems, not probably as many as TeamViewer, but it certainly does all of the main ones. And it's way, way cheaper than TeamViewer. So if anyone is out there looking for an alternative to TeamViewer, I highly recommend AnyDesk.
Yeah, I think on Mac OS you have to have at least Yosemite to run AnyDesk.
Yeah.
Whereas TeamViewer, when it works, goes back several
I think
versions.
mine.
Well, they just I mean, I haven't used TeamViewer in a little bit, but when I was using it, it was just when maybe what you were talking about, Dana, was occurring, where they forced me to upgrade from like version 14 or whatever to the latest because they were like deprecating it, and I could
Yeah.
no longer find an older version that would work on like my dad's old Mavericks laptop or whatever. And so I just couldn't connect anymore, and so that was a roadblock. But it was like one of those things where it worked fine, and then it changed, and I'm like, oh well, gotta find something else. And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm thankful there's no shortage of solutions these days, no matter where you're going from. But
I was afraid that they would do that, like where they force you to upgrade, and then that upgrade won't communicate with a certain past version.
and that's what I ran into. You know?
Yeah, because they did the same thing with Dropbox. And I said, Dropbox did it. These guys are going to do it. And so I downloaded all the installers. So I think all of the computers I have that will support it all have a copy on it. But you can't take like my Mac Pro here will not connect to the G4 anymore. So I have to go to a computer running like Lion or Snow Leopard to connect to the G4.
Yeah, I think what TeamViewer, at least the message that came up to me, now things may have changed, but the message that came up to me originally was something like, we're not supporting this version anymore. You can't even use this version. Like it was like phoning home being like, nope, can't do it. And so that was the end of that.
There's something scary going on in the chat. Chrome Remote Desktop.
Yeah.
Funneling my screen through Google terrifies me.
I've used it before.
Anything with Chrome in the name alone.
Yeah, it's dead easy to use. Of course it is. The easier you can share your data with Google, the better.
Yeah, exactly.
Chrome is the devil.
I will never ever be right, but I'm glad it works.
I'm sure if you read the terms of service of a lot of these screen sharings, there's a lot of loopholes you just don't.
Oh yeah, there is. I agree with you. I mean, look at Zoom. I mean, Zoom has had issues just recently because guess what? All their stuff is being funneled through China. It's like, what?
Oh really?
Yeah, you didn't hear about that story? Oh
no,
yeah.
I don't have Zoom. I've been using Skype, and
that's why a lot of people have been going to Microsoft Teams lately because Zoom had the issues with the China connection there, so they had a lot of security issues.
With any of these, the big thing is to do your research, find out the name of the tool you're using. If it's like easy free connect, yeah, maybe that's a little suspicious. You might want to look up some details there.
Yeah.
But most operating systems have something built in. Windows has remote desktop built in, so if you're supporting a Windows client, you can actually download the free Mac client and hop on their machine. And like Jay was saying, Apple Remote Desktop works great if you are servicing Apple clients. I've used basically everything because no matter who I'm supporting, it's always something different. Oh, the Mac is too old to use messages, so I can't do the share my screen thing. The PC doesn't like TeamViewer, so I used a WebEx when I had that.
Yeah.
I've used the Google one once or twice just to get a connection on it, and then I installed something else. But it's like, I've even had to like do an audio call and have FaceTime, and the person's pointing their phone at the screen. That's the worst, because you can't see anything. Everything's all washed out. But it's like, it's better than nothing. And I strongly still remember the days of my grandpa calling me for support, and he had like an old 7100 or whatever we gave him. And he's just describing things, and he was like a month with the computer. He never used a computer. So he's describing like the shapes of icons and things, and I'm like trying to visualize it. I'm like, what? So anything that's a visual is good in my book. Anything guessing.
And guess what? And Grudy gets muted.
So hey, Jay, you use Apple Remote Desktop. Does it have a limit to the number of users you can connect to?
No, as much as your screen and connection can handle. And with the legacy option built in, I can control OS 9 machines from my Mojave desktop. Now I got Apple. It's paid. Apple Remote Desktop is paid software.
Right.
I got it for free because I worked at Apple, so I have no idea how much it cost. But I would say even if it's $200, I've earned that back in multitudes using that software. And like Steve said, there's always a backup plan. You got messages, you got take a picture, send a screenshot. So there's multiple ways to go about it, but I prefer Apple Remote Desktop by far.
Yeah, the biggest thing I just wanted to say is if you're opening up ports or something and you're trying to help somebody do that, just make sure you got a secure password and make sure those ports aren't left open after you connect, because that's how some of these things happen with like someone using TeamViewer or whatever. You'll install it on a friend's machine to help them. They leave it open. Maybe it's a PC, maybe they get some malware or whatever, and that preference file, the TeamViewer that saves that little code to connect, is maybe stolen or whatever. Then anybody could just hop onto it. So you just gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're like I said, there's a lot of different things that people can use out there. I think Matt was saying he uses Discord's desktop viewer. However, unless you're paying for Discord, you're only going to get 720p, so it's going to the resolution is going to be crap. And then if you have a screen like mine, trying to look at that on there, you're not going to read anything on there.
Well, I'm sorry. If you have a screen like yours and you're asking for help, you got another problem.
Yeah.
Step
First
one,
world
unplug
problem.
screen. Step two, plug in CRT. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, but there's plenty of alternatives. At the end of the day, you can find a lot of options to get the job done. Even Skype screen sharing while you're on a call with each other, or Chrome or whatever it is. But
Yeah, but I feel a lot safer
I
with
would say
Skype
always
than I
have
do Chrome.
2 options on your system. If you're always being called by grandparents or friends, like, hey, dude, got an issue. If you're frequently finding yourself helping people out, have at least 2 options readily available,
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
whatever they are.
Because when you need it the most, the first option will fail.
Yes, typically.
Yes.
Sounds to me like I'm going to switch to Apple Remote Desktop, because I used to have probably half a dozen computers
Well,
outside the house that I would connect to, and I'd use TeamViewer for that. But now I can't even, like, it'll give me barely 5 minutes, if that, before it disconnects me
Right.
if I try to connect to any of them. So computers around the house, Apple Remote Desktop would be perfect, or even screen sharing if it'll go back far enough.
ARD is very, very useful, and one quick way to get around how expensive it can be on the App Store is to buy, plus this gives you the legacy support for older systems, but if you buy
Older sisters.
older sisters, yes. If you buy
It's not that kind of show.
I'm not touching that one.
the unlimited key version of it on eBay from I think it was version 3.4 or something like that, 3.3, something like that. If you buy that from eBay and install it on your modern Mac, it will automatically link to the App Store and automatically update and add it to your account.
What
Well,
version
that's
was
what I was
that
going to
again?
ask Jay, because
I
sorry.
need to write this down.
What?
What version was that again?
Can't remember. It's like it's version 3 something, I think. I'll show you some stuff about it.
Yeah,
later.
text it to me or something. Okay.
Yeah, I was curious how often they updated that, because I know back when I was clearing out my old office, I found like a version 3 disc or whatever, and I thought it was old.
Yeah, every few years. They only update it when it's absolutely necessary.
That's what I figured.
With the code signing or certificates, but feature-wise, it's been the exact same software I've been using for the last 15 years.
Yeah. And that's what my my coworkers used at my old job. It was whenever they supported a Mac, and never failed them. It was cool. They could power on machines, reboot them, do a lot more than just remotely control them.
Yeah, it's pretty slick.
All right, guys. I think we need to go ahead and move on to our next topic tonight, which, by the way, is something that I didn't know about, and I'm kind of skeptical about it, is you're charging it wrong. Okay, we're talking about a article that came out. Somebody wants to put that in the chat there. I guess the extremetech.com came out with an article saying that if you charge your MacBook on the wrong side, it can significantly lower its performance. Now, here's the question now I have, because I have a 2017 13-inch MacBook Pro that only has the 2 USB-C ports, or Thunderbolt 3, so it's only on one side.
Yeah, but yours,
So you're good.
yours is not a 2017 or newer, is it?
Yeah, it's 2017.
I think
Yeah,
it's
I
hitting.
think it only applies for the 4-port ones, from what I read.
Yeah, the 16
Yeah,
inch
that's
and
what
a
it
few
seems.
others.
Yeah.
The thing is, you don't. It's and I didn't read the whole article because I'm like, serves you right for buying one of those pieces of crap. But as long as you have something plugged in, even if it's a dongle that you're not using, having two devices plugged in on the right side, I think, sends macOS into hyperdrive. The kernel task is just gonna blast at 100 or 400%,
I
depending
thought
on
it
how many
said the
cores you
left
got.
side, but I guess it doesn't really matter.
It does matter. And even if you're not charging or you just got random stuff plugged in, a mouse, USB-C to USB mouse, it'll still go crazy.
That's why I use
And of
Bluetooth
course, it's
mice.
going to start running hot. It's going to, when it runs hot, it's going to throttle and all the good stuff. So
And it's
That's
also
why you
going
use
to
a
drain your
computer with.
battery.
you're holding it wrong has been a meme for years, and now we can say you're
You're
charging
charging
it wrong.
Yeah.
It's a thing now. It's awesome.
Wouldn't be a freaking problem if you put actual ports on the damn thing, but
Right?
none of
What
my
a
business.
concept. Yeah.
Well, that's what, like I said before, that's what people said about, the floppy drive. When they got rid of the floppy drive, it was like, people went crazy over that. And
This is different, my friend.
I don't think it's any different. You're going to see that USB-C is probably going to be taken off. The problem is, I think,
The least they could have done was leave an SD card slot in the darn thing.
well,
The least they could have done.
At least, yeah.
true, because it is thin enough for an SD card slot.
Exactly. I could hear the argument all day long of, hey, it's thin enough, we can't fill a full port in it. Fine, then give us something else.
They did. USB-C.
Yeah.
Damn
And
it.
then I have a dock that I put on it that has SD card slot, micro SD card slot, HDMI,
Yeah, sure. Of course.
USB-A.
I have a dock for my 12-inch PowerBook.
So I have all those different ports on it now, so which is nice. So anything else on this one before we move on? This was a short topic.
No,
here.
I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Apple just keeps screwing up. They try to do the right thing sometimes, and it still goes sideways. And
Well,
I enjoy it.
And that's one of the things that you guys, especially some of our older viewers that we've had here for a long time, know that we do talk trash about Apple a lot, especially when they deserve it.
When it's justified.
And it's been
Yep.
justified a
About
lot.
75% of the time.
And we talk
There's
trash
actually-
about Windows even when it's not justified, which is never.
Well,
There's
that's
actually
Jay.
a question in the chat. Is there anything that Apple currently makes that we do like?
The
That's a
Mac,
tangent
the
you wanna
old
go
Mac
down?
Pro, the
No.
classic Mac Pro.
Well, he says
I like-
currently makes. Currently
Oh,
makes.
currently makes
I like the new Mac
The
Pro.
mini. I like the
the
mini.
iPads, the new.
It is
Yeah, I like
nice.
the big iPad.
Yeah, I like the iPads. I mean, I've
Yeah.
got the. This is the version 7 or the 7th gen one I've got. So hold on, I've got it charging here.
Do they still make rechargeable
So-
batteries?
Huh?
I've always liked those.
Oh, yeah. I don't think they do because none of their accessories use batteries anymore.
Yeah, you're right.
But those
I have
those are the Panasonic Eneloops. They're the same exact thing. I love those things.
I have a 5th generation iPad. It's not very old. I think it's like 2 years old, and I like it pretty
Well,
pretty
the 5th
well.
gen still.
It's my first
yeah,
tablet.
the 5th
ever.
gen still, I think, but the 5th gen doesn't support the pencil. I think the 6th gen is when they started supporting the pencil.
No, but I don't care. I don't use it enough to.
I actually, believe it or not, I actually do like the pencil now. I didn't think I was going to like it.
I would try
love
it.
one with support for it. But
Yeah.
mine's way too
Yeah.
old.
But I do like the pencil now. I didn't think I would like it, but when I got the pencil, I was like, you know what? I use it all the time.
Yeah. And Miss Aliki is right. I can't say I like anything. 'Cause the second I do, it vanishes. My MacBook Pro is gone. My iPad Mini is gone. And I'm not saying I like anything else because I want to keep it.
Puck? What about your puck?
Nope. Off limits.
Hey, Jay likes his puck mice, so you might want to take those.
Nope.
He's gonna barricade the door.
There it is, Jay. She wants a pencil.
Well, she needs an iPad that can handle a pencil.
Got to be at
first.
least a 6th
So
gen.
then you get your iPad back.
There you go. See?
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. If she currently has my, what is it, 2nd, 3rd, 5th? I don't know. It's an iPad Mini. It's old. And if I give her an iPad Pro, or if she buys one, and I get my old crummy second gen iPad that doesn't work, then I want a new one as well.
She
So
says she wants
Wow.
the pencil one,
Yeah.
what, Rudy?
but
The
just
this
get her
one
the mini.
this one I got it on sale. It's the 128 gigabyte model, 7th gen, and it works with the pencil. It's 10.2 inch screen. It's actually a bigger screen than the older ones.
Just get her the Mini 5.
Yeah.
Same
Well,
form
my
factor,
dad got
but
the
it
Mini
takes the
5
pencil.
last year,
Yeah.
and it is pretty damn sweet.
Yeah, I like
Especially with iPad OS
Yeah.
on it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not bad at all.
Now, the difference is that the 7th gen iPads use the 1st gen pencil. So it's the one that plugs into the bottom of the lightning port. The iPad Pros, the newer iPad Pros, the ones
The second
bezel-less
one.
ones or the fingerprintless ones, those use the 2nd gen pencil. So you got to make sure you get the right pencil too, because this one here that I have uses the 1st gen pencil. Even though this is a brand new iPad that just came out this past year, or actually this year, it uses the 1st gen pencil. So
By the way, the latency on this stream is like 1.5 seconds.
Really?
yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I got some quick kick-ass internet, don't I?
Yeah, because I hear that it's on in the living room and it's barely 2 seconds. It's pretty.
That's impressive.
Echo.
Plus, I'm actually using my
Yep.
video card, and I'm actually recording this as well to the hard drive because we are going to start. Speaking of which, that reminds me, we are going to start putting these up as an audio only version. So,
I'm
And
glad you remember because I
I-
forgot to remind you.
I actually, I suggested this freaking months ago.
Sure you did.
sure, you
I
did.
did,
Of course, Grudy. Of
but
course.
I was actually planning on downloading them all and doing it months
Yeah.
ago. I just never
Okay,
got
well
around.
you get the
It's already
backlog.
done, dude.
Enjoy.
Yeah,
Eh.
that's
You already
68 of
converted
them.
them to
68
audio?
of them you have to do. So go for it.
I got all the recordings on my
Go
hard
along.
drive. I can just batch extract the audio.
Well, do that.
Automator.
Well, once we have somewhere to put it, I will.
And I think that was supposed to be Steve's job. I remember correctly.
Yep. I have some details I could share once we're done.
Alrighty. All right. So, what's our next topic here? Let's see.
I should open up the PDF to
yeah.
see what we're talking about.
Mac maintenance tips for extending the life of your computer. Now, a lot of us, especially this group of us Mac yackers, have older computers. In fact, I'm actually using a 2009 Mac Pro as what I'm doing
too.
this show on. Okay, it's an 11-year-old computer, but it still will kick the butts of some of the newer stuff today. It's not as fast single core, but multi-core, it still kicks pretty much some butt there. You can actually upgrade it too. That's the good thing about it. I have a RX 5700 XT in it. Very, very nice video card. Works really well.
Really? I don't think you've mentioned that
Yes,
yet.
I have. But works rather well for the show here, especially since I'm actually using it to encode the broadcast tonight. So it works out a whole lot better. Now I don't use all my cores for it. The other thing is that it does have slots where we could put other things into it, so we can actually upgrade it and keep it up. And also, the Mac Pro was easy to take apart and clean, in my opinion. Not unlike the iMacs. The iMac was difficult to take apart, starting with the 2012 model. Yeah.
It was like heart surgery.
Yeah. So starting with the 2012 model, it was almost impossible. Well, not impossible, but very difficult to get inside and clean. And if you did something like what I did to my 2017 when I took it apart to clean it, and I just put electrical tape to hold the glass back on. I think Jay still does it with his wife's, if I'm not mistaken. So
At least I use black electrical tape now instead of Kapton tape.
yeah, I was using black
looks a little
electrical tape. Yeah. It worked out pretty good. As long as the screen doesn't fall off, hey, it works. All that stuff is like, what is it, it's not even glue. It's like little tape things
Double-sided
with
tape.
foam tape or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But anyways, you definitely want to blow them out. I think I do mine at least once a year. I actually take it apart and get it clean every little nook and cranny in the thing. Some people like to take it apart and put, alcohol in it, repaste. I do the same thing. I do repaste my CPUs because you want to keep fresh paste on it all the time, especially me.
Apple paste has always been notorious for being garbage.
Yes.
Yeah. Heat is the biggest enemy. If you're trying to maintain a computer, do whatever you can to eliminate
The heat.
sources of heat. Like it's something that could retain heat. So dust, especially if you have pets or you have or if you smoke. First of all, stop smoking, Jay.
Well, Jay doesn't smoke around his stuff.
Yeah,
That's
he never
true.
smokes around his stuff.
Don't smoke in your house, people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So-
Never smoke in your house.
Yeah, because that's nasty. I actually saw somebody had a
That yellow Mac Pro.
no. There was one. Was it the Mac? No, it was an iMac. It was that had like so much gunk around the power button. Somebody had a picture of that.
Oh,
Remember
yeah,
that one?
The one that had the black.
And then they
bill up
opened it up and it was like yellow tar stuff where the
Yeah.
port was.
There was a yellow Mac Pro the other day. The whole case and the insides were dark yellow. Just tar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gross. I've seen a few of those. It's not pretty.
And anything with a fan is going to suck that stuff in.
And it attaches to dust particles, which then attach to your fans, attaches to your heat sinks, and all that sort of stuff, and it builds up over time. Everybody knows this, but it's not something that people think about all that often.
In fact,
By the way, Dana, you sound amazing. What's your
Thank
secret?
you. Now I just
You
need
got great audio for sure.
a webcam that's not from
It does more than
2005.
VGA. Yeah.
I was going to say, every one of us has like almost perfect video except for Dana, but he has the best audio. Except for
all blurry.
Bruce. I think Bruce has
I'm
pretty
off
good
balance.
audio too.
Thank you.
Bruce does. I've seen his microphone.
Have you ever noticed?
Bruce has
Dana
got the
could do radio
too.
voice now.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that 9 times out of 10, every single person on the stream is wearing glasses on this show?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Except for Mike. I don't
I
think
just
Mike
wanted to make-
has his on right now. He
Mike
might.
doesn't even have a face.
Yeah, he doesn't.
right
He has an S right there.
I just wanted
His
to
cat's
mention
wearing the
quickly about
glasses.
the
Yeah,
whole
he's
dust
wearing his
thing we were
glasses.
talking about before. The sort of Mac, we've obviously talked about things like the iMacs and the Mac Pros and stuff like that. And for sort of people who have ever pulled apart, sort of things like the MacBook Pros or the little MacBook Airs, they sort of suck all the air in at the sort of the back of them, and they tended to sort of pull dust in, and there's nothing to stop that dust, and they sit on the logic board. Now, I realize this isn't necessarily a precaution that a lot of people can take, because it does, you do need special, pentalobe screwdrivers and everything to open up like a MacBook Air and stuff like that. But most of the time when I've had situations with MacBook Airs that haven't been working that I've fixed, most of the time it's because dust has accumulated on the edge of the logic board, and then moisture has got into that dust, and then you've ended up with corrosion and liquid damage. And to end up with moisture damage on a computer that has never had any liquid poured on it or anything like that, it's just ended up getting moisture in the dust that's stuck on the board, and then you just get this little bit of corrosion up on the top of the board, right near the SMC, and they die. So, I mean, I don't know what the solution is for just sort of end users. Perhaps take it for a bit of preventative maintenance if you know someone who knows how to open them up to get that dust out of there. But they're all pretty much prone to that sort of failure.
And on occasion, dust in general is just conductive. So if you get enough a conductive dust on your board, it will short out.
And Jay, your wife just said, is incense bad for the Mac? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Huh?
Makes it smell pretty.
Yeah, but It's got the same tars and stuff in it that,
Yeah,
Wow.
oily
it-
smoke.
Incense
it's
doesn't have
oil.
tar in it. Come
It's
on.
not tar.
Oil.
but it's still smoke.
Oily
And
smoke.
I don't want to leave out the Mac Mini users. Even though it doesn't look like the Mac Mini has any intake vents, it
Oh,
actually
yes, it
takes in air along the edges of that round bottom plate.
Mhm.
Yep.
And for the older Mac Minis, there's intake vents all along the outside. Definitely pop the bottom off once in a while and get that dust out. And
You'd be
I will
shocked.
guarantee you there will be a lot of it. And the
You'll be
ports too. The
shocked.
ports function as air intakes as
Yeah.
well.
Especially if you live in a dusty environment. Like, for instance, when I did my 2017 iMac, and Jay saw me do this, I only had the thing for about 8 months. And I opened it up, and it was the fan. When I pulled the fan out, yeah, it was a big old clob. Yeah, it was caked with dust. Because Arizona
was.
at the time, that's a dusty climate, and you're going to get that stuff
Oh, yeah.
in. And no matter how much you try not to get it in there, it's going to get in.
Yep.
I-
Once a
Well,
month.
what about,
just open it up once a month and blow things out.
Yeah.
Now, if you have like an iMac, of course, that's a more difficult task. But if you have a Mac Pro, even if you have a Mini, those are pretty easy to open up and just do some regular maintenance.
Well, I do have a 2010 iMac over here that I can actually open up, so it's got the magnets on it, so
Yeah.
a little bit different.
That's about it. All comes down to, like was said, dust and heat.
Yep.
If you keep those two in check, your Mac could last forever, unless you have a Mac with T2 chip, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Now, if we're talking vintage Macs, we're talking 68K Macs, that list gets quite a bit longer.
If the battery has been removed,
Yeah.
it
Well,
should
yeah.
maybe.
And
But
it's
even-
recap.
Even if the battery's out, that capacitor goo can really do a number on your board. Anybody who's watched Bruce's videos or Steve's videos, they can see what that stuff does.
Oh, yeah.
What was
I
that?
think-
And of course,
I'm
the
pretty sure the
computers
cat-
during the capacitor play. Yeah.
Okay.
So Trina's going to share a folder in Discord under Windows Yak of a system she got from a chain smoker. I don't know if we want to.
Let's take a look.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I have that channel muted.
One
wonder
of my first repair. Well, not first repairs. One of my repairs. It's getting on 10 years now.
Ooh.
For a relative was a PC. It was one of those Dell Dimension things, and the design was the front case was here, and there was metal behind the front case. So it was this little pocket, just enough for you to stick your hand in, that just collected with dust, because that was like an intake, and just sticky with all disgusting cigarette dust. And so me trying to be nice, I'll go home and clean it out. Well, I just started a new job, and by cleaning that machine, I must have inhaled some of it. I had like the worst sore throat for like a week. I needed like multiple steroids doses just to like get me back up to shape. Missed like the first week of work, already ate up all my sick time, on the first week on the job. Never again.
Dude.
So whenever I go
Trina,
to repair a machine, I ask about it.
Is anybody looking at Trina's
Trina, that
pictures
computer
there?
looks like it's
Oh.
Yeah, I
like
saw
it's
them.
growing hair.
That thing,
Let's.
It is growing.
I'm surprised. Did the fan even run?
I've seen worse. I had a Mac that was probably twice as bad as that, but it's still hard to look at that.
She
I mean,
says,
I
I'm gonna-
don't have the pictures readily available, but look it up on my House of Moth website. Do a search for Project Maya. And one of the first posts in that series is when I got the G4. You know those little holes on the front of the MDD at the bottom?
Yeah.
There's a cage behind it,
Clogged.
and it was caked. Absolutely caked. It was
Yeah.
disgusting.
Well, you saw the article I wrote for MacYak.com where I got my 1,1, and when I got it because I got it for free, and as soon as I opened it up, I mean that thing was just it was disgusting.
Yeah, some nasty
yeah.
stuff out there.
So that looks very much similar, Trina. Trina's photos there. That's the very similar type of Dell, except the front case where the grill was covered more, so it was like a stupid aesthetic thing. But it was that same brown, sticky, disgusting stuff, and I just took one of those like leaf blowers. I just went just like outdoors, and I still got sick from it. I was like, oh, disgusting. I mean, I think Apple also does not accept anything for repairs that they suspect because of that specific issue.
I've avoided several warranties over the years. It was very common with MacBook Pros. The first thing that would go from a smoker's MacBook Pro was the laser in the optical drive.
Oh,
You open it up and it was just, I'm not going to say caked. Damn it, I said it. It was just all over there, and Apple refused to replace it. Said, listen, you are not eligible for Apple Care. You're just going to have to buy a new one. No.
There, I put a link of Jay's Project Maya on the chat.
Well, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
By the way, if you guys think that picture is bad, my ex-wife's computer actually caught fire.
I believe it.
Well, that one at Trina showed, I'm surprised it never caught fire because it had enough stuff in there, the combustible stuff in there to catch fire.
I had a fire catch. Worse than that. I smoked for 22 years. Believe me, my computers looked a hell of a lot worse than that. That's minor. I would have called that a good day when I cleaned out one of my computers.
My, I think it was my mid 03 G5 looked exactly like that. It was bad.
Ugh.
That's not to say that only dirty Macs can catch on fire. I set one on fire last night. It was clean.
It was a little different of a reason, though.
Yeah, you did.
So, any more tips that we got for our viewers on what they can do?
Just keep it clean.
Just keep them clean. Yeah.
Yep.
And keep them dry. And
yes, do not submerge them in water. They're not meant.
Yeah,
even if it says
Baja Blast on it or something like that.
In fact, I got a friend of mine's MacBook Pro. He let me look at it to try to fix it and everything, and he spilled wine on it, and of course it fried out the power straight to the keyboard and the trackpad, so it burnt out that connector. But he didn't want to pay to have it replaced, so he's like, don't worry about it. I can put a keyboard and stuff on it and an external mouse. I was like, okay.
I mean, it works.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I showed him pictures of what happened, and he looked at it like, oh. That's like, that's what usually happens when
That'll
liquid.
explain it.
That's what happens when liquid hits positive and negative inside the Mac.
I remember there was some case where some guy kept pestering Apple. It was in the early 2000s or mid 2000s. Something with his MacBook Pro. It maybe falsely said it was liquid damaged or whatever, and he, I guess, kept emailing sjobs@apple.com. And Steve responded with something like, electronics don't like water. Stop emailing us, or something along those lines.
Yeah, and even though your phone or whatever, the new phones and stuff that come out with that are water resistant, don't test that theory.
They're not waterproof.
Yeah, and Apple, even says, like, for the watches and their phones, that seal degrades over time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I never use my watch or my phone near water or in water. I mean, I'm just paranoid because I'm sure the one time I will use it, that's when it's going to break.
But here's the thing, though, is you can actually use water to actually clean electronics. As long as it's clean distilled water, because a lot of people do dishwashers, which I don't recommend. But
thanks, Mike.
Nice job, nice job, Mike.
But
they're all kind of crooked.
Yeah, but
so is your face, Gritty.
Those are my nephews. They're all crooked. Trust me. They won't use Mac, so they're damn crooked.
See what we do to keep our viewers happy. We change our decor.
I think
in the next 10 minutes there will be an interpretive dance.
I think that Jay's wife is like having a OCD fit back there, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Because she's screaming in there now. Thank you. Oh my God.
But you don't want to see the other walls in my house.
I wonder what she thinks of all those cables hanging neatly behind Jay, and then the one hanger that's going in the completely wrong direction.
Don't put it there.
She's not allowed in that room.
I keep hanging them on the door frame, so she just puts it back in the room. So she doesn't care what it looks like as long as it's out of the way.
All right, guys. Any more tips before we move on?
Nope.
All right. So
send your recap jobs to Bruce and Steve.
Exactly. All right. Next topic tonight: nightmare buyers and sellers. So we're going to share some horror stories, and I think.
Do you mind if I kick this one off because I have to step outside to get some
Yeah,
air?
then I'm going to kick it to Grudy because I know Grudy's probably got the most horror stories.
For which?
Oh man, I should have sent you. If I send you a picture, can you show it on the stream?
If you send it to me
It's too
real
late
quick,
for that.
I can try to get it on here.
Stand by. I bought a floppy drive.
Oh, this one.
Yes, and I'll send you the picture now.
Get your popcorn ready, folks.
So, I bought this off of eBay about 3 weeks ago, and he'll show it on the stream when he's ready to go.
I'm getting it up now. Hold on.
So, it's an inbox complete set of a VST floppy drive with one of those color kits on it. You could put different colors on and match your iMac and all that stuff.
Those. Yeah.
So I bought one, paid a few bucks extra because it was in the original box, looking great.
All right, there we go.
All right, should be up there now. Somewhere.
Yes.
There. So I bought it. He didn't ship it. I forgot all about it. And I make it a point to once every few weeks go to my eBay purchase history in case I forgot I bought something that hasn't been shipped out. And this one popped up. So I messaged the dude. Hey, dude, what's going on? Long story short, he finally shipped it. And this is what he did. And of course, it's just out of reach. Ooh.
Is that the eBay picture that you sent me?
That's the eBay picture. That's what I paid for. Yeah. What I got, and I'll try to.
I can't look.
Hold on, let me.
It is.
He mailed it in the box.
He used the box itself.
As the shipping container.
Put 2 USPS stickers on it and just tossed it in the mail.
It is didn't even wrap it in paper or anything.
Not wrapped or anything. It is complete.
And he specifically sold this as new in box.
Yes.
And then shipped it in the box.
You can't even see most of the damage, but it's bad. And I wanted this in the box because I'm about to shoot a video soon that I needed this for. So I messaged him. I said, "Listen, I can buy this for $8. How about you refund me the difference?" And he was very apologetic. And he gave me a partial refund.
A partial?
I asked him, please. Yeah, I basically paid $8 for this. That's all I was willing to pay, or he was going to take it back.
And I would have mailed it right back the same way.
I tried to mention to him, like, hey, if you have other stuff like this, people want this because they collect it. They need it for some.
They want the box.
Box it up carefully. No stickers, no tape, none of that. And hopefully, if he has more stuff to sell, it won't happen again. But yeah, that was my fun story this week. I was so pissed when this arrived. I was so pissed, as these guys can tell you. But yeah, it's just stupid, and accidents happen. You know, if you genuinely try to pack something properly, and USPS or FedEx or whoever mistreats it, it happens. But just slapping a label on there and tossing it off at the post office, no good.
Yeah, and that's something that we were talking about in the chat when Jay was sharing this with us earlier, and I know Dana was saying it too, that a lot of us have been burned by stuff like this before. So now we're like super aware of it. So when we get something on eBay or somewhere else and we know it's going to be shipped, we ask a million questions. Are you going to put it in a box? Are you going to wrap it? How are you packing it? Blah, 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 blah. And it makes us seem like we're such, specific people, but it's like, no, I'm paying for this. I want it to like not arrive in pieces. So we've all had that done before, or something comes and it wasn't padded enough and it's snapped in half and it's like a rare thing or whatever, and you can't just go get another one. So even if you get a refund, it's not worth it to you,
Yeah, because
I have a guy sending me a workgroup server 9650 and he's shipping it out Saturday. And I said, this thing weighs 50 pounds. You've got to pack it a certain way. And I told him, double box it, put styrofoam in between, not the little tiny pieces of crap, but the actual sheets of styrofoam if you can find it or buy it. And I said, if you have any concerns about it, take it to UPS and tell them you want it double boxed with styrofoam. and or FedEx or whoever else. Because I said this thing weighs a ton. The plastic is not going to survive if it's not packed well, and if it doesn't, I'm sending it back. So.
Yeah, well, I'll get when I get to my story. I'm going to tell you about how letting FedEx do it ran into a problem.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat.
Yeah, I've never tried with FedEx. I've always had good luck with UPS because you can go right in the store and they'll show you how they're going to pack it and stuff, and sometimes they'll do it right there for you. But
yeah, I think it all just depends on who's working there. Are they a trainee or have they been in the business? They know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's not the UPS stores that are the problem. It's the drivers.
Yeah,
from my experience.
Yeah.
Well, Jay's ain't getting any packages anytime soon.
Yeah.
Steve, how about your horror story?
I have a few of them. I'll tell one that happened I'm still sour.
Your worst
about
one. Your worst one.
Yeah, this is a cascading mountain of crap.
Is that the one from Patreon?
No, it's a different one.
No.
So I bought a year or so ago. I bought 2 years ago. I bought a Pioneer Laser Active Laserdisc player. Mm-hmm. It's a very specific Laserdisc player model. It had a little slot where you could put in these multi-packs, allowed you to play games, do karaoke, all this fun stuff. Not a particularly good Laserdisc player, but a Laser Active player that very special. They only made one, didn't do very well, blah blah blah. So I had my eye open on one for a while, and they were always way too expensive. I saw one on eBay. The guy listed it, said it turns on, but it doesn't do whatever, and he listed it, for not too much. I think it was like 150 or 250 or something like that. And I did a best offer, we went back and forth. Anyway, I said in the notes to him, I said, look, could you please package this very carefully? Shipping Laserdisc players is usually a death sentence. You have to double box them. Yeah, they're very, very delicate, And so he's like, oh, yeah, no problem, blah, blah, blah. I got it. So apparently he just brought it to FedEx and said, all right, pack it up. So I'm like on pins and needles waiting for this thing to arrive. And I was home the day it arrived, and I hear a thud on my porch. And I'm like, oh, no. And so, I look, if it was UPS or FedEx or USPS, I don't care who it was, but whoever, packaged it like an idiot. So I go look at the box, and there's a hole in it already. So I'm like, oh, that's great. And so how they packed it was one piece of very thin styrofoam, a layer on the bottom of the player, one very thin piece of styrofoam on the top of the player. About this big or so. The player's about this tall and about this wide and about this deep. It's a big thing.
That might as well have been tissue paper.
Exactly.
It weighs probably 25 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then the piece de la resistance, they put some just newspaper. They just sort of loosely patted it around, not even packing, just like a little bit of a dressing. Like that'll do it. And so when I opened up the box, there was cracked plastic, there was little bits of metal, there were pieces of little gears and things that have been snapped. And the side ports on the back ports, rather, the back of the player was just like somebody punched it with like brass knuckles. It was just like, it was just destroyed. And so I messaged a guy and I'm like, look, this thing is destroyed. Like, I'm not paying full price for this. This is ridiculous. And I sent him photos, and eBay was having like a problem sending photos or whatever. And he's like, oh, I'll take care of this, Mar. And so he wrote a letter, like this old school thing. He wrote a letter to FedEx, signed it and everything. He's like, please take care of our mutual partner or client or whatever. They didn't do anything. I had to call.
They'll ignore that.
Yeah, I had to do a claim and everything. And he wouldn't refund me anything. He wanted me to go through FedEx. So I had to wait for FedEx to mail me a check and all this stuff. And then he still didn't believe me that it was broken. So eBay fixed its problem and it sent him the images, and it showed how damaged it was. So I was able to get it to turn on. It won't accept or play a disc yet. There's still some cracked things in there. And then these things on top of it are notorious for capacitor issues. So, that's something that I have to look into. So that was just like, still puts a bad taste in my mouth when I think about it. I want to try and get that up and working one time, but I mean, something like that, you can't find them. It's a very specific thing. It's like what would happen if like you got a Mac Portable or or a 20th anniversary Mac. You know, it's like it really hurts because it's like, oh, that's something that would have been nice if it wasn't broken. So yeah, word of caution: always, you know, tell them to pack it, even if they're saying, "Oh no, I'm going to go to FedEx." Let them do it. No, give them instructions. Draw a diagram on a napkin or something. You know, look up examples. People, if you're getting a weird item or a big item, I'm sure other people have had the same problem. So that's my winding story.
Now, Grudy, we want you to actually tell us who Redacted is and why he's called Redacted.
He's a repeat offender,
French for like bad shipping.
Yeah, that's
he invented the.
I promised Redacted I'd never reveal his name.
But I didn't.
We never. None of us ever promised.
Well, his business has actually been closed since then, too.
Oh, I wonder why.
Yeah, shocker.
If I shipped a bunch of stuff and broke it for people, I don't think I'd be in business
anymore. I think if you just go to Grudy's channel, I would let Grudy talk, but he would be like, he'd take about 4 hours just to talk about all his.
Well, no, because I don't have many because I don't remember a whole lot because of my brain damage and stuff. Well, yeah, it's true. I'm a brain
good for watching movies, you know.
Just the way you said that.
I know. I am
you know exactly what I have in my basement, the specs of everything that's been buried for decades.
There
you know
are
that.
Some things that I can always
But yet you don't remember bad sellers.
No matter what, I don't remember.
But you don't.
Yeah.
You need to go and check out that awesome new movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark, already. It's awesome. You'll love it.
But I have problems remembering things. You can check my unboxing videos on YouTube. Every other unboxing video is me getting a box full of parts that used to be one whole machine until I got it.
Yeah, that's why I said Grudy. I would let Grudy.
Got out to use a knife.
Yeah, I would let Grudy talk about it, but we would take us 4 hours probably to talk about all his issues.
Well, it's a good reason to go watch his videos.
Exactly, just go watch his videos.
It is.
Yeah.
But the only one that really comes to mind right offhand really quick would be I got one of those really rare G5 towers. I got my second one, and it's on video too. I told him, I've never had a problem with FedEx. Just have FedEx do it. They'll do it right. They didn't. Okay? It was the first time I ever had FedEx screw up something really badly. Because I'd always had everything coming from UPS always came to me in pieces. Never had any problem with FedEx. And
So did they pack it poorly or did they handle it poorly?
They packed it poorly.
Okay.
I get the thing, and it looks like it had been sitting, for one thing, it looks like it had been sitting in a wet spot in the truck. So the weakest part of the box was soaking wet, and it was like paper bag thin, okay? And I opened this thing up. The guy had put, the FedEx worker had put thin foam pieces or something like that on the sides of it, but not on the handle sides, and it kept smacking into the soft part of the box. So I got a curled up bottom foot on the darn thing. And he said, "Don't worry, I'll go to FedEx and take care of it." And the guy that packed it said, "I didn't do anything wrong with it. You have no claim," and left it at that.
Oh wow, that's when you start putting like some very bad comments and give him a negative.
Yeah, that's why you always pay with PayPal. At least you got some kind of protection.
Yeah.
Yep. Also, I mean, I'm looking at the topic here, and it's not only shipping damage, but scams and other rants. So,
Mike,
I don't think we're gonna make that in one episode. Though.
Yeah,
Mike,
we could save that part for
I think we'll save the scams and other rants.
What do you mean?
For another episode.
Oh, Mike on the Enterprise again?
I've got.
What is going on with your background?
He's in the desert.
So
you missed last week's episode, Grudy. That's why.
Oh.
Brain bad indeed.
How do you do that?
All right.
Yeah, last week we accidentally started experimenting with backgrounds, and it didn't go well.
Yeah.
Ah, there we go. That's better.
So, Bruce, did you have anything that you wanted to?
Yes, yeah. I had a really quick one. I mean, I used to buy broken MacBook, sort of computers and repair them and then sort of resell them. And I don't do that anymore because there are so many hacks doing that now. And what they do is they buy them, they try and fix them, they fail, and then they sell them on eBay saying, and this is a bit of the scam thing, they sell them on eBay saying, oh, my daughter spilt some water in this, and then you buy it and you get it back and you open up and it has just been massacred inside. But I got one which was just a genuine liquid damage one, and I picked it up for really cheap. It was a 13-inch MacBook Air. I think it was about a 2012 model, something like that. And the lady, this is damage, it won't start. Sold it for very cheap. No worries. Sent it to me. Posted it off in a padded envelope. Just an envelope, not a box or anything like that. Padded envelope with the MacBook Air in the envelope and then the charger on top of it. And obviously at some stage during the journey, something got put on top of it and that charger just cracked the screen. So anyhow, it turned out, and of course the problem, I guess the problem is that when someone like that possibly doesn't realize the potential of repairing that computer, they look at it and think, this is rubbish. I'm not going to bother putting this in a in a fancy box or anything like that. I'm not going to take care of it. I'm selling something broken. I'm selling garbage. Why do I need to actually pad it or look after it?
I think they looked at Steve Jobs' video of him shoving a MacBook Air in an envelope too literal.
In an envelope, yes.
It worked for the first one. Why not the next one?
And then, and sure enough, this thing arrived. I, open it up, and it's just got this huge crack down the middle. I sort of had to put in a claim with sort of Australia Post here. They basically they took one look at the packing and said that it was totally inadequate, and so there's no claim there. So the seller was pretty good about it and refunded me a good chunk of it. And I ended up actually the most frustrating moment of that was when I opened it up. I found some really clear liquid damage, corrosion on there, fixed it up. It literally took me about probably 15 minutes to repair the Mac so it was working, plug it in, switch it on. Away she goes, boots up, huge crack down the middle of the screen. And I looked at it and I thought to myself, if it had just been packed properly, I would have a perfectly working sort of MacBook Air now. But of course, then had to go and buy a replacement LCD to fix it.
That's horrible.
So, yeah, real pain, real pain.
So Greg, you could leave and do things now. You just leave that up.
How long can he hold that dog for? Wow.
Woof.
Oh, we're talking about shameless self-promotion there. Oh my God, that is pretty shameless there. So any other nightmares before we move on?
Nope.
Oh,
nope. I have some on my.
I can keep going. For
days,
I
know. I think we all could, but
I have my Patreon video that I just released that has some stuff on it. So if you're a patron, go take that look at it.
There you go.
I made the decision a while ago that if I was going to, because I collect vintage Macs, I said if I'm ever going to get and add one to my collection, I am not going to get one that I can't go drive and get in a day or two. Yeah. So I just, because I've seen so many horror stories, and I'm like, I would rather risk that machine staying as it is than risk shipping it to my house and having it become trash.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I agree with you there. That's why I look on the local sales sites now, and I don't particularly like eBay too much because eBay is full of fraudsters and scammers. So I just try to stay away from there. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get to our next topic, which is actually the most important topic of this stream tonight. Everybody's been waiting for us to talk about this, and it's the Mac Yak giveaway. What I'm doing is I am personally giving away something here, and I will show it here in a minute.
It's his love.
A new car.
Yeah. And as one person put in one of the comments there, is it gum or is it a computer? And then
it's a computer with gum.
Okay, so anyways, this is how it's going to work. Okay, it's going to involve a little bit of work on your behalf in order to actually be eligible to actually win this. The first thing is once we reach 1,000 subscribers, that's when I will actually do the giveaway. So we are currently at about 300 and 450 roughly, or no, 450 somewhere around there from being at 1,000. And the reason why I want to do this is because Bruce was like way below us. Now he's already at 1,000, so we need to get MacYak to 1,000.
Congratulations,
Bruce.
So
Bruce does more videos a week
Yeah.
than
Bruce.
Yeah, all he does is freaking
stream.
solder
Yeah,
stuff.
he solders
Like,
stuff.
What the hell?
Or desolder stuff, you know. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
in that order.
I'm going to give you a little hint. So if everybody wants to just keep quiet for a second, I'll let them hear. That little sound should give you a hint
Ooh.
on
It's a
what
PC.
I'm going to be
Yeah,
giving
it
away.
sounds like every Mac from 1997.
Exactly.
To like 2016.
So
It's
Yeah.
a 10.
basically, we're going to I'm giving away a MacBook. Okay, it's not a new MacBook, so don't think you're getting a 20, a nice new 16-inch MacBook Pro or something like that. That's not going to happen. In the tradition of our show, because we do a lot of classic stuff on here, we're going to give away, and this is actually technically not a classic MacBook, but it's not a old MacBook either.
It's technically the second one we've given away, though.
Yes. Okay. But here's the thing: is that it does work. It works really well. It's going to have a 250 gigabyte hard drive on it. I did not put an SSD in here, so if you want to put an SSD, you can.
No NVMe?
No. It does come with 2 gigabytes of memory, so you can upgrade that to 4 gigabytes. Is what the max will take on here.
You can go up.
You can go up to 6,
actually,
but you have to do a 4 and a 2.
It's not really worth it.
Exactly. 4 gigabytes works rather well. I will actually have pre-installed a copy of OS X Mountain Lion on here. So, or actually, sorry, Lion, not Mountain Lion. Or no, I will put Mountain Lion on here.
Yeah, Mountain
Lion.
It's Mountain
What's the
Lion.
screen size and the processor?
Huh? It's a cord.
What's the screen size
It's
of the
a
processor?
13-inch MacBook Pro, or not MacBook Pro, MacBook white. In fact, here I'll show it to you. This is
There you
is
go.
what we're going to be giving away.
Yeah.
Okay, so it does have. That's an older operating system. I actually have 4 different operating systems on here currently right now, but it will come wiped with Mountain Lion on it, and it's going to be a fresh copy that Grudy actually gave me to put on here because it actually has to. Well, actually, no, Grudy, you didn't do that. I actually made a copy. to
No,
put on here.
you
Yeah,
made a.
I made a copy
the one
to put
I
on
put
here.
on mine was the one I got from you.
This one, I actually did remove a lot of the scratches from the top case here.
Nice.
Because it was pretty scratched up when I got it, but a lot of them are removed. Now the bottom of it still has a lot of scratch on it. I didn't bother with the bottom.
Nobody looks at that anyway.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It does have a brand new battery. The battery only has 9 cycles on it as of right now. 9 cycles. It will come with an adapter. It's going to have one of the L-shaped adapters. It does have some electrical tape on it because I'm not going to go out and buy a $75 new.
I'll put some heat shrink
Yeah,
on it.
I'll put some heat shrink or something on it. Anyways, the laptop works well. The display is in perfect condition. It does not do as Bruce was talking about earlier, the stage light effects on the bottom. So everything works on it.
Everyone keeps asking what it's currently running.
Right now, I actually have Leopard, Snow Leopard, Lion, and Mountain Lion. I can run all 4 of them on here.
Leave it
Yeah,
like
so,
that. That's cool.
Yeah, you should live it like that.
One OS for each member.
Well,
of
I
Mac
actually would
Jack.
have to clear all my personal
You
stuff
need
out.
7 partitions then.
So,
You could do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you could do that
okay,
easily.
I will do that
right?
then. I will put all the different operating systems. I think it booted
You
into.
could probably just skip Leopard and Lion, though, and just put Snow Leopard and Mountain Lion on it.
What if you want to mount HFS file systems? Huh?
Oh, that's
You
a
need
good
Leopard.
point. That's a good
So
point.
then what I was going to say is this is a perfect laptop for somebody who maybe wants like a bridge computer for, let's say, a PowerPC Mac or something like that. You want to do Apple Talk. You want to share stuff,
So the
those machines
consensus
are pretty
is-
solid.
The consensus is just skip Lion.
Well, I'll just leave all 4 because I have it partitioned into 4 different partitions. The 250 gigabyte hard drive is partitioned into 4. So I'll leave it at 4. I'll just wipe everything that's on here currently. as far as my personal information and stuff, it will be fresh installs, so everyone will see, welcome to, OS 10. Now, here's the rules on how you're actually going to be able to win this. A lot of people like to do the comments on the video. However, we're not going to do it that way because this is Mac Yak. We do things a little bit differently. The way it's going to work is you're going to watch. Everyone that's watching this video now knows it's going to happen, but it's also going to be on our website where you can watch it again. So anybody that wants to win it is going to have to watch this in order to actually win it. If you want, there's a post that should be live now on macyak.com, mac-yak.com. So if somebody can type that link in there and put it in there, I'd appreciate it real quick. There is a post on our website, so you're going to have to go over to that website. There's going to be some things you're going to have to do. One of the things you're going to have to do is put a comment on that post. In that comment, you're going to have to put the magic word. Okay, the magic word is going to be Color Classic. Yep, right there behind Bruce. Color Classic.
Now,
That's two words.
Is it the
So what?
Old English spelling or
It
the
doesn't
regular
matter.
English spelling?
Anyway,
If you get close, if you just
As long as you don't use a K,
All right.
you're good.
so
just put in Performer 250.
all right,
That's what I'm doing.
and also you're going to have to subscribe to the Mac Yak YouTube channel because we will verify the winner. If you are not subscribed, we will pick the next winner down, and so on and so on. Okay, so basically, if you have to subscribe to the YouTube channel, you don't have to do the alerts if you don't want to. Doesn't matter to me, but we just want the subscribers. Okay, if you're already subscribed there, Matt, you're good to go. Okay, that's not a problem. So all you have to do is go over to macyak.com and comment on
Type
the
in the magic words.
yes. Now, your comments are going to be censored, okay? Because we don't want anybody to cheat on this and go in and say, I don't have to go watch the video, so I just go look at the comments on there. Guess what? Jay and I have control over that. So whenever you make a comment, it's going to be moderated before it actually gets posted. So therefore, you're not going to see it. Also, on our Discord, do not give out the magic word, because that is you will get basically put in timeout if you get caught doing that. Okay.
I'll ban your ass.
Yeah. So there you go, Jay. Actually, okay.
As you can tell, this is not one of those giveaways where you can win it just by showing
Exactly. You're gonna
up.
have.
We need to see you paying attention.
You're going to have to watch this particular video in order to actually know what's going to happen. So, someone actually said USA only. I'm guessing no. Okay. However, okay.
Read the link.
Here's the thing. If you live in a country that isn't in the USA, you will have to provide some of the shipping. I will pay some of it up to whatever it costs to ship inside the US. You will provide the rest of the shipping charges in order to get it to you. I'm assuming it's not going to be that much. This should fit in a flat rate box rather well.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Didn't we just talk about
No, this should fit in there just fine. You should see how Jay shipped me one of these.
The cost. You should be surprised of the cost.
Yeah.
You would be surprised.
That's why I said a flat rate box is about $13 anywhere in the United States. So that's why I'm pretty much saying that it shouldn't be that bad in the United States. The foreign countries, you will have to tell me if you do win it and you live in a foreign country, you're going to have to tell me what the shipping is there, and we'll figure it out from there. Okay. So yes, anybody can win it, no matter where you are. Just like I said, I'm not made of money. None of us here are made of money, because otherwise we'd all, except for Grudy, I think. Grudy spends money like crazy. So
Hey.
you just bought a new truck, so
Well,
a new old truck, but
Brought a duck?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I bought a new duck. Yep.
We already have two comments. One is Steve, who's not eligible.
Actually, Steve would be eligible. Steve would be eligible.
He is?
Yes, even Mac Yackers are
I'm
eligible.
putting
Got a few people that say
that.
they've commented.
Jay,
a few people
this
said
is
they've
probably the
commented.
one you sent me from the recycler that you gave it to me from.
Oh, I don't want it back. Keep it.
Do a refresh, Jay. It looks like a couple more people have
I'm
commented.
working on it.
Yeah. So,
You're working on clicking refresh?
but anyways, you guys, like I said, to keep this fair for everybody, don't give out what the magic word is. Have people, you can actually sit there and say, hey, go subscribe to MacYak, watch this particular video, and they can go and do it on their own. But again, the magic word is Color Classic, okay? And make sure you go to mac-yak.com in order to do it. But that's the link that you're going to have to go to and find the post that says giveaway and comment on that. There's a lot of other good posts over there too. So if you guys didn't know, we do have a blog over there. I've got a couple of articles I've written. Jay's got a bunch he's written. That's where we kept the PPC challenge stories up. So you guys check that out. We're trying to drive traffic not only to our YouTube channel, but we're trying to drive it to our website as well. That's the whole purpose of this giveaway, and that's the reason why we're doing it this way.
Oh, come on, Bruce.
So, Bruce, he commented.
Yep.
So
then you'll really see how much the shipping costs.
yeah, I'll have to.
I've got like 4 of those laptops anyway. I don't want any more.
But anyways, guys, that's the MacYak giveaway. Hopefully you guys will want this. I mean, like I said, I've cleaned this up and it's been repasted. The CPU's been repasted. Everything's been cleaned up on the inside. The top case is really nice condition. In fact, you can see the keys on it are really nice condition. The trackpad does work properly. The clicker clicks.
You actually give him a good one. I would have just given him a broken one.
No, this one actually is
chips missing
really,
from the handrest.
really well taken care of. The screen is really nice viewing on it. I actually do use the other one I have. I actually do use it for certain things, for my ham radio stuff, stuff like that. So I actually do use it. They do have a function.
I just bought this one
Yeah.
today.
So, but yours is a newer one, I think, than mine. This is a 2008.
It's a 2010.
Yeah, this is a 2008
Yes.
model. So it's a Core.
2010, still one of my favorite
Yeah.
of all.
This is a Core 2 Duo, by the way. So it is rather slow, but for doing stuff like if you want to do, word processing and stuff like that, running older programs and stuff works really well with that. So
Yeah, just don't load up 4K video and go, why is this slow?
well, you probably won't even do it anyways because some of the websites don't even like using it.
Yes, saying.
Yeah. So anyways, but that is the giveaway. So if anybody has any questions, now's the time before we move on to our next topic.
Did you put the Firefox Legacy on it?
No, I did not.
You probably should.
No, I will
costs-
probably just send it as is. The person that wins it can put Firefox Legacy on it.
Yeah, whoever gets this, if you're not competent enough to download something,
Yeah.
we want
Well,
it
The
back.
Wi-Fi does work on here. In fact, I have it connected to my Wi-Fi right now. It does work. So
A lot of the older operating systems just won't load those websites anymore, though.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you got a quadruple boot.
that's why I have 4 different partitions on here, Grudy.
True.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our next topic here, and it's kind of into this one, but buying used Macs. When buying, okay, now I'm going to read the topic here. When buying a used car or truck, a professional should check it out to make sure you're not buying a lemon with hidden or covered up issues. But what about buying used Macs? You can't exactly take it for a test drive to a Genius Bar. So what are our few tips that people should look for when buying a used Mac?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is what Bruce was saying, is you buy one and you open it up and you realize someone's been in there before you, and by golly, look at that mess.
Mm-hmm.
This goes to anything that you're considering buying locally. If you have the ability to go there, power it on, look at it, go ahead and do that. And if you get any hesitation, from somebody being like, "Oh no, I don't want to turn it on," or blah blah blah. Well, I'm not giving you any money until I see exactly what you promised, whether it turns on, whether it is for parts or whatever. To come to an agreement. And the biggest thing that I've seen a few people say they've got scammed via this, and I don't know how often it is, but if it's too good to be true, it is. And usually people will be like, "Oh, here's a brand new iPad in the box and it's sealed," and you go to buy it. Well, I don't want to open the box. Well, and I know Greg was saying this a few shows ago. GT was saying this a few shows ago. It's like, if I'm going to buy it, I'm opening the box, because you're going to open it up when you get home and there's going to be a brick inside and you're out of luck. So, if you have the ability to inspect it physically, do that. If not, do a FaceTime video, do a Skype call, do something, especially if it's over $50 or so. You might want to actually take a look and make sure you're getting what you're getting. If it's something local, it's cheap or whatever, just grab it. But I mean, that's just my thoughts.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I can tell you a horror story real quick.
Oh, that was 2 topics ago.
Well, I know, but
But now we're talking about tips.
Sure what you're buying is what they say it is.
Yeah, like your truck.
I'll do a video on that eventually. But for instance, a day before my grandmother died, this is why I remember this. The very first G5, the one that I gave away to Garrett Green, was one that I actually got screwed over on. It was on Facebook Marketplace. It looked like a quad to me. I'm like, "Dude, is this a quad?" He's like, "Yeah, it's a quad." So I just dropped everything I was holding basically and just shot down to meet him. And that was years before the dogs, Jay. But anyway, I pull up. It looks beautiful. It looks great. I hand him the money and drive off. It doesn't hit me until I get home. I should have taken the cover off and actually verified it was a quad. It wasn't a quad. I got really screwed over on it. Like, hugely screwed over.
Guy's laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding, because he even said he'd give me 50% of it back. He never did.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I bought I had an eBay ad once where someone was selling a 13-inch MacBook Pro. I think it was a 2011 model, something like that. And of course, people who know the MacBook Pros know that those 13 inches are rock solid. They're really good computers. They last a really long time. And when I turned up there to pick it up, it was a 15-inch 2011. Now, it's great. It's extra CPU power, but of course, GPU issues on 2011 15-inch MacBook Pros.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's very important to definitely, make sure that there are photos. Don't ever settle for photos that are taken off Apple's website.
Yeah.
Make sure they're photos of the actual thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of the things I noticed, especially like on Fleabay or anything like that, is when you see a title saying latest Mac OS, okay, that's a real, little.
It's the
that's
latest
a
Mac OS it can run.
No. It says latest Mac OS. Okay, usually
And sometimes it has like the
stay
year
away
on it.
from that, because those are the ones that are trying to scam you. Okay. Because especially if you try to ask them questions about it, then they usually ignore you or don't answer anything, or they're selling them for very ridiculous prices. We've had a lot of those on our What Were They Smoking segments when we used to do it. We need to get back to doing that again, by the way.
Yeah, why we stop?
Yeah, I think we
need to.
I think we just ran out of stuff to.
We should do a whole episode of what are they smoking. I'm being serious.
We actually should. Every one of us should get a couple. And
it's a good 9-hour stream.
Yeah.
And everyone, all our viewers can, submit in the Discord thing we have.
That's a good idea for a show. That writes itself.
It should, yeah. We should do that.
And if anybody knows about 9-hour streams, it's Steve.
Or Bruce.
Well, what I want to say is with any of this stuff, you got to do your research. I mean, you're buying anything used, like Rudy, sorry, what like Greg is saying about the stock images, that's a red flag. If it's too good to be true, that's a red flag. If it looks like something but it's being, described differently, it could just be user error. Look, a lot of us are technical. A lot of us know these machines inside and out. And the person selling it probably has no idea. Maybe it's an iBook and she brought it to a friend, bought it from a friend, and they said, "Oh, it's a MacBook." People don't know this stuff. Maybe they don't read. They don't want to see it says iBook or MacBook on the front cover. A lot of this stuff is not common sense to people. So you got to do your homework and just make sure you don't get yourself in a dumb situation where you overpay for something and then you regret it.
Yeah.
I missed most of this as I was quite busy approving comments that suddenly flooded the website. I would say, and this doesn't apply to the older, stuff you guys work on, and every Mac since the G3 blue and white, and probably before that a few as well, has a hardware test or a hardware diagnostics. If the machine powers on, you can invoke that hardware test by holding down the D key.
Mm-hmm.
In case it has an internal partition that's been erased, or there's no OS or a dead hard drive, always have a flash drive on you or a FireWire drive if it's a PowerPC with an operating system on it and a few test utilities.
Yes.
This is for local pickup. If you're buying from eBay, ask for pictures. This is not 1983. You don't have to take a picture, develop the film, scan it. No, dude, point your phone at it, take whatever pictures I ask of you. It's easy, and it tells me that the machine is in good shape. Hey, why don't you do a hardware test and take a picture, a screenshot of about this Mac, or the hardware test passed? Stuff like
another
that.
red flag on that too, Jay, would be is if they sit there and say, "Well, I don't have the ability to take pictures and stuff." I'm like, then why are you on eBay?
Then you lost yourself a sale.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and always be aware of the return policy on eBay. Some sellers have a good return policy, some don't. Also, if you're going to meet up in person, if you're at any way at all suspicious of like, oh, is it a good deal or whatever, make sure you got the person's like address or their phone number or a way to contact them. Of course, they can always scam you, but like, if I'm saying, oh, I want to buy this, look, if I get it home and it doesn't work, can I bring it back? Have that conversation before you walk away with the bad deal. I bought an iMac once. It was a G4 iMac. I got it for a certain price. I brought it home, didn't work. The guy just refunded me via PayPal. He was like, you know what? Sorry about that. It's fine. Most people, they're fine, but might get bit.
Especially eBay, because a lot. I know Grudy's had a lot of issues where he's gotten money back and stuff, but a lot of these sellers on eBay, if you say, look, I'm going to go to eBay against you, they're going to give you your money back, because they'd rather do that one person that they give money back to, because they're probably selling thousands of things on eBay that one person they can write off. That's no big deal. But it's almost like scammers. Scammers go after thousands of people, and it only takes the one to bite on it for them to actually make money. It's the same thing as eBay. They don't want to lose their eBay account, because then they have no way of actually putting stuff out there.
Scamming
Exactly. and don't rely a lot on the feedback mechanism of eBay. Usually when I look at something on eBay, I go try to find the negative feedbacks. I don't care about the positive feedbacks. I can care less.
Yes.
They all say the same thing anyway.
Yeah.
Look at the negative ones. That's the ones that really are going to give you a good picture of this person. Okay? Because guess what? They cannot delete the negative feedbacks, especially if they're true, So go and read those, because usually those actually have some substance of why they gave them a negative feedback.
And if you are being scammed or something on eBay, don't wait past the period of when you can no longer give feedback. That's happened to me before. I got scammed. I can't even warn anybody about it because it's past the 40 days. eBay won't do anything about it.
So it happened to me recently on a video card.
Especially because they'll ship it late, and it'll be way past it. Because I usually wait to give feedback until I actually receive the item.
Of course, yeah.
Always.
And
Yep.
so a lot of these scammers will sit there and wait and wait and wait. And guess what? By the time it ships out, the feedback period, like Steve just said, the feedback period's over. So you get it's all crunched up, or it's not, it's a box of rocks or something. And guess what? You have no way of leaving feedback then.
Quick question here. What do people think is the correct etiquette in terms of the order of feedback being left? So if you're a seller and someone buys something from you, when should you leave feedback?
Okay. There's a couple of things, my thoughts on this one, because I'm a seller also on there too. But if I try to leave feedback as soon as I receive payment, okay, and I'll say super quick payment or something like that, like that. But sometimes, and I ask them to leave feedback when they receive their items. Sometimes you don't get that feedback. So then I would a while back, I was resorting to waiting till I got feedback before I gave them feedback.
Yeah, that's the problem, and of course that then becomes an issue where people, even if they're a disgruntled buyer, they don't want to leave negative feedback because they haven't received feedback from the seller yet. So they might end up lying and putting in positive feedback because they haven't received feedback for them. And this is the way I feel. I think that the correct order should be the moment you have received payment, the buyer has fulfilled their end of the bargain. So as far as I'm concerned, the moment you have received payment from the buyer, that's when you as a seller should be leaving feedback. And I get very sus about people that won't leave feedback on your buying. Even though you paid for it straight away, they won't leave feedback until you've left feedback for them. And I find that very frustrating. And that to me is a bit of an alarm bell of a dodgy seller.
Yeah, and I can understand it if like you're one of these power sellers and you got a warehouse full of stuff, but I'm sure there are automated ways to do that. So.
All right, guys. So we're about to the end of the show now. Any other questions on this topic before we actually start shutting down here?
No, I think I'm good.
Well, yeah, you're not good right now as far as other stuff, but yeah. All right, guys. So anyways, we had a lot more to do, but we're going to save that for next week's show.
What are you saving for next week?
We're saving...
Well, maybe we could do one more.
What do we want to do?
I'm really curious about Steve's.
Okay, we'll do Steve's archive adventure. All right.
The history and tidbits. I'm just going to read them off in 2 seconds, and it was postponed from last time, and next time won't be April.
Okay,
anymore,
so we'll do the history.
Give me 60
let's
seconds.
do the history and tidbits.
So basically, we'll go for the full 2 hours.
Pretty much, yeah.
No.
All right, so go ahead, Steve.
Just some quick little things in history. The last Xserve, that was the Intel model, was released 11 years ago this month. I know Jay and Grudy and Greg are all Xserve fans. I got one myself.
I don't have one anymore, actually.
Intel one. Oh, that's right, traitor. So they supported up to dual Xeon processors, so those are pretty quick. But 11 years ago, that seems like.
By the way, interesting tidbit: you can now put 6 cores in it if you hack it with a 5.1 Pro firmware.
Interesting. Did not know that.
Pretty neat.
And
all right, there's my next video.
Speaking of
exactly.
Old hardware, the first eMac was released 17 years ago today, April 22nd, 2002. Seems like ages ago. Well, this was back
last
with the show. Whatever. Anyway,
a week ago today.
It was originally only for educational institutions or students, but a few months afterwards, it was so popular. Apple got so many requests that they opened it up, and a month later or a few months later, they actually allowed non-educational institutions to buy this thing. And it was at a weird point in time because you still had the G3 iMac, which was a very old machine, but Apple was still selling it for $799. And then you had the iMac G4, which was like $1,500. So the eMac G4 was a perfect, middle ground there. Yeah. So it was like $1,000 or $999 if you were a student, or $1099 if you were, just a normal person.
And at the time, it performed the same as the G4 iMac, basically.
They're pretty quick machines, yeah. So, they weigh a ton, but as we all know.
Just get someone else to lift them up for you. Yeah.
They're solid computers, and the only comment I'm going to say on that also is if you want a PowerPC Mac and you want like a G4 to tinker around with, you could usually get an eMac for a song. Nobody wants these things. They're huge. They're taking up space. The CRTs cost money to be recycled. So there you go.
I just give mine to Dana.
The last
And I didn't
thing.
have to sing for it either.
Hey, there you go. Well, now with the microphone, you can sing. So, the last history item actually leads into my archive adventures. The Apple Image Writer 2, the last and finest of their dot matrix printers, was released 35 years ago this month. That's insane. 35 years ago.
And they still work, a lot of them.
They do. I mean, they're tanks. They were built very solid. They had actually 3 different revisions. No, just internal changes. They were sold from 1985 all the way through 1996. So it was usually the lower cost or the lowest cost printer option for anybody buying a Mac that wanted a printer from Apple. And those things, they last forever. You just need some new ink tanks, ink ribbons.
Cheapest color printer you could find.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
right.
right.
I was going to say the fact that they printed in color. If you were to compare them to any other color printer, I mean, there was such a cheap printer to do color.
Yeah, and that was a groundbreaking thing because it was so expensive to get a color inkjet printer. Even the first style writers were just grayscale. So to have a color printer was great. And that's the news. So we'll want me to transition myself?
Sure, go for it.
That's the news.
That's the news. So my archive adventures today are something I showed off on the show a little bit a while ago. I got an Orange Micro image buffer, and that is actually a memory module for the Image Writer 2. I'm going to put a link in the chat to what I'm going to talk about. And so what's interesting about that is it came with the manual. And what was neat is that manual is nowhere online. A lot of Orange Micro products have their manuals scanned in on archive.org and this and that. I did not find any of the manuals, and I did my search. So I scanned in my own. What was really neat about this is my manual had an addendum, and what that was is a little piece of paper being like, hey, by the way, here's some pages and areas in the manual where we screwed up. Here's the correct information. And so it was really cool to actually see that it came with that. When I got the eBay link and I bought the little image buffer board, I saw it had the manual. I had no idea it had an addendum in it, and it also had the registration card in there. So I did some nice pretty scans, and I scanned everything in and put the pages together and uploaded it to archive.org so you could view a PDF of there. That's the link I put in there. And the image buffer is something I'm going to be playing around with for a little bit. I need to set up an Apple II to actually see how that works. But I always like archiving things that aren't available elsewhere. And this was in pretty good condition. So anybody who ever needs any reference to that, especially there's a great tip in there about upgrading memory and stuff. Now it's out there for the world. So that's stuff I kind of like to do.
I like that. Failure to type leading 0 will result in 10 times the desired numbers of copies being printed.
A little bit of a tip there. But
and by the way, shameless plug, not for myself, but if you are on Mac 84's Patreon, you could have already had the inside scoop on this. Just saying.
It's true.
What is thank you, Jay, and and Greg. What's interesting is the manual on the back has a revision date of January 1986, but that addendum also has a date of January 86. So they caught those problems pretty quick, but they I guess didn't make it to the printers.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we've reached the end of our show tonight. So if you guys know, as you guys know, a lot of you older guys that's been here for a while know we do have a Discord. So there's the Discord link up there. HTTP.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's right. It's floating above our pictures there. Actually, it's right above Mike.
I should probably join.
Mike, it's right over Steve, so you can't really see Steve's head now because it's it's blocking him. Anyways, check that link out. Yeah, there you go. Down there. And as Dana's pointing up, yeah. So anyways, go to that link and you can join our Discord. However, once you get there, you're going to notice that you're only going to see one measly little channel. Guess what? That's the rules. You have to read them. You have to write something in there in order to get access to the rest of the Discord server.
Measly. It's like an hour to type that out with all the icons and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yes, there is one channel that you're going to see in there. So make sure you read the rules and follow the rules of the server. Anyways, another thing is make sure you hit that like button on this video. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon. We only go once a week. So you're only going to get one alert from us once a week. So it's not like you're going to get about 1,000 of them like Steve and Bruce, where you see every other day they're doing a live stream. So
it's like the Brady Bunch right now. We're all like.
So anyways, guys, so go ahead and do follow us. We all have our own links in the description, so you can go check out our own individual channels. And guys, we'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.